Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLESFANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been paying close attention to the Eagles so far in the 2025 season, you've probably noticed that things aren't quite clicking the way we expected. And one of the biggest questions right now revolves around A.J. Brown, the three-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. Yeah, Brown, who's been a cornerstone of this offense, especially since he joined the Eagles, seems to be going through a bit of a rough patch at the start of this season. It's not just about a slow start. It's about the kind of conversations that start swirling around when a star like him isn't producing at his usual high level. Just to give you some context, through the first 4 games of 2025, A.J. Brown has caught only 14 passes for 151 yards and just 1 touchdown. That's a far cry from the kind of numbers he was posting in 2023, when he was absolutely dominant, earning a Pro Bowl selection with a line of 106 catches, 456 yards, and 7 touchdowns on 158 targets. So naturally, fans and analysts alike are starting to ask, what's going on? Is Brown himself frustrated? Absolutely. It's only human to feel that way when you're used to being a game changer and the ball isn't coming your way as often as you'd like. But here's the thing, despite this slow start, the Eagles are still sitting pretty at 4-0. They're undefeated, and that's no small feat, especially considering the offensive struggles they're facing right now. And this is where things get really interesting, folks. Because, as you might have seen floating around the NFL rumor mill, there are some wild scenarios being discussed about A.J. Brown's future. One of the most talked about ones recently came from Bleacher Report's Alexander K., who proposed a pretty bold trade idea. Imagine the Eagles parting ways with their star receiver in exchange for a couple of second-round picks in the upcoming drafts, specifically the 2026 and 2027 second-round selections. And the team that's supposedly interested in making this move, the New England Patriots. Yeah, you heard that right. The Patriots, a franchise that's been rebuilding and reshaping their roster, might see a move for Brown as a way to give their offense a serious boost and finally get over the hump in the AFC. Now, let's think about what this would mean. Brown, who's only 28, is still in the prime of his career. He's just coming off a season where he was one of the most productive receivers in the league, and his talent is undeniable. But for some reason, this season has been a different story. He's been struggling to get involved, struggling to find that rhythm he's known for. And naturally, that leads to questions about whether he might be better suited elsewhere, especially with a team like New England looking to make a splash and finally contend again. But here's the key point. While the trade might seem tempting for the Patriots, it's a different story for the Eagles. Trading away a player of Brown's caliber, especially this early in the season, could have serious repercussions. The Eagles, after all, are still trying to figure things out offensively under new offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. They're balancing their offensive game plan, trying to get Devonta Smith more involved, who, like Brown, has been somewhat underwhelming by his standards this year, with only 17 receptions for 158 yards and 1 touchdown. It's clear that both of these talented receivers aren't yet hitting their stride, but that's part of the growing process, especially with a new system. And let's not forget the running game. Saquon Barkley, who was a beast last season with over 2.0 rushing yards, is currently averaging just over 3 yards per carry so far in 2025. These are head-scratching numbers for fans who are used to seeing the Eagles dominate on both sides of the ball. But despite all that, the fact remains they're undefeated. That's a testament to the resilience and talent within the team, even when things aren't perfectly clicking. Sometimes, teams have slow starts, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're doomed. It's about adjustments, chemistry, and execution as the season progresses. Now back to A.J. Brown. When he's been frustrated in the past, it often has led to some of his biggest performances. Remember last season, when he had that incredible game against the Los Angeles Rams, catching 6 passes for 109 yards and a touchdown. Moments like that show just how impactful he can be when he's motivated and involved. And this season, even with the slow start, he's just one game away from having another big performance, like when he was instrumental in the Eagles' comeback against the Rams. That kind of effort shows he's still got that elite talent, and he's capable of turning things around at any moment. But here's the big picture: trading Brown during the middle of his prime, especially when the team is still trying to gel and find its rhythm, might not make much sense. The Eagles' ultimate goal remains clear. They want to repeat as Super Bowl champions, and losing a player like Brown could seriously hamper those chances, even if it's just a temporary hiccup. You have to consider the chemistry, the depth, and the overall team dynamics. The Eagles have built a roster that's capable of competing with anyone, and Brown's talent is a key piece of that puzzle. Sure, he's been frustrated, but that's often part of the game. When players like him show frustration, it sometimes leads to a surge of motivation and a big game in the near future. And remember, the Eagles aren't just a team that relies on one or two players. They have a balanced offense, a solid defense, and a coaching staff that's proven they can adapt. The slow start from Brown and Smith is something they're working on, and it's part of the process of building chemistry with new offensive schemes. The fact that they're still undefeated despite these struggles speaks volumes about the resilience of this team. It's also worth noting that the offense is still trying to find its identity under Kevin Patullo, who's trying to maximize the talents of players like Brown and Smith in this new system. Now, looking ahead, the Eagles' schedule doesn't get any easier, and every game is going to be a test. They face tough opponents, and the NFC East is as competitive as ever. The Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders are all looking to make their mark, so Philadelphia has to stay sharp. But with Jalen Hurts leading the offense, the team's overall talent and depth are still there, even if the offensive numbers aren't quite matching last season's explosive output. Hurts himself has been steady, but he's also been adjusting to new weapons and a different offensive approach. Having Brown at full health and in top form would be a huge boost for this team down the stretch. And let's not forget about the bigger picture here. The NFL is always full of surprises, and trades like the one proposed for Brown could reshape divisions and playoff races. The Patriots, led by their new coaching staff and looking to re-establish themselves as contenders, see a player like Brown as a game changer. For Philadelphia, though, the decision to keep or trade him isn't just about this season, it's about their long-term championship aspirations. They know they have a talented roster, and they're likely to be cautious before making any rash moves. So fans, what do you think? Do you believe that trading A.J. Brown makes sense in this situation, or should the Eagles hold tight and try to turn things around with him in the lineup? It's a fascinating debate, and honestly, we won't truly know the answer until the season unfolds further. But what is clear is that the Eagles are a team that's not afraid to make tough decisions, and they're always thinking several steps ahead. They have their eyes set on that Lombardi Trophy once again, and every move they make will be aimed at that goal. This season, we're witnessing a team in transition, a team that's adjusting and learning how to win in different ways. The slow start from Brown and others might seem like setbacks, but it's also part of a bigger story of resilience, growth, and relentless pursuit of excellence. The Eagles have established themselves as a powerhouse in the NFC, and even with some hiccups early on, they remain a team to watch. The coaching staff is working tirelessly to iron out these issues, and the players are giving everything they've got to make sure they're at their best when it counts most. As the season progresses, the narrative will continue to develop. Will A.J. Brown bounce back and remind everyone why he's one of the best receivers in the league? Will the Eagles stick to their guns and keep their star in the fold, or will they consider bold trades to shake things up? Whatever happens, one thing is for certain: Philadelphia remains a team with championship aspirations, and they're not going to go down without a fight. Fans, stay tuned because this story is far from over, and I promise you there will be more twists, more drama, and plenty of exciting football ahead. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you think trading Brown makes sense, or should the team keep him and ride out the season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news. Thanks for being here, and as always, go Birds.